Hey guys, today I'm here with a video on how you can craft a killer personal statement. And I think my first advice would be to know who you are. Who are you? What makes you you? What do I mean by this? I mean, there's so many applicants out there that are going to apply for the same course as you. Tens of thousands of applicants are all applying for the same places. Why would the selectors want to pick you? How do you stand out? And you stand out by being different, personally. Now, they're all going to have similar CVs to you and stuff. They're all going to be like students who take, I don't know, a certain set of subjects for your specific course, or have had similar experiences. Perhaps they've done similar extracurriculars. But this little personal story that you introduce in the beginning of your personal statement is how you can separate yourself really easily. Were there specific life events that changed what course you wanted? Has anyone in your life inspired you to take this course? Things like that really help your application stand out from the rest. And yeah, as I kind of mentioned, how have these events or how have these personal memories that link to your course, how have they inspired you to take this course? And this is your chance to stand out, so make the most of it. Really can't exaggerate that enough. The next thing I want you to kind of think about, and this is where the body basically lies, is how are you suited for this course? What skills do you have? What are your academic or your school achievements? What subjects do you take? Have you done any coursework related to the course? So perhaps an EPQ, that looks good. If you do the IB, the extended essay, and maybe your IAs can be considered coursework. And what's important as well is that you kind of reflect on these. So I would get more into that in a bit. Do you have any extracurriculars or achievements that perhaps help you stand out? Like, have you ever done a maths tournament or something? An Olympiad? Perhaps there's something related to your course of interest that really helps you stand out. So again, if you're doing maths Olympiads look great. I think there are STEM Olympiads as well. Little things like those really make you stand out and show that you're academically competent for the course. Do you have any hobbies? Do you like playing football? Are you an avid birdwatcher maybe? It's all viable if you're able to link it back to your course. Any work experience? I think this is quite important, especially if you're doing a longer course or like I think a longer course is a good example. So I'd say ones like law or medicine. Some form of work experience is really important, especially medicine. I applied for medicine and I think they always recommend you have some form of work experience just because becoming a doctor is something you really need to experience in real life. And I think if you don't have that experience, it can be quite difficult to understand the rigors that come with a career in medicine. And lastly but not finally, books, but not just books. So things like journals, articles, anything related to your course, any sort of literature, reading related to your course. So again, I did medicine. And things like scientific articles, research papers, even news articles you could bring up and talk about how they help increase your knowledge, your understanding of medicine and a career in medicine. And so I think things like that are really important. If you're doing a career in STEM, again, research papers, science papers, really good things to bring in. However, and I really want to emphasize this, please don't just state that you've done these things. Make sure you explain and link them back to the course. What do I mean by this? I mean, okay, great, you wrote a 4,000 word EPQ on a topic on the central nervous system. How's that going to help you become a biologist? What have you learned from it? Has it perhaps improved your research skills, your ability to read scientific papers, your ability to analyze different statistics, numbers, graphs? Things like that you want to make sure you reflect on and show to the people reading your personal statement. And this goes for all the things, so whether it be hobbies. So like I mentioned bird watching before. Okay, great. But what about bird watching is going to help you? For a hobby, sometimes it's just good to say, it helps me take a break, helps me relax from the rigors of school life. Or you could perhaps, well, if you're into biology, you can link it back to biology. I really like life, and life is something, whether it's in an academic perspective or just in a normal real world perspective, life and biology is something I enjoy. So being able to link your hobbies to your course, I think, is really important. Finally, summarize and conclude everything you've said. I think this is quite important. You want to repeat basically what you've said in a really brief form, and also give like a powerful concluding statement. Something like, if I end up studying this, perhaps I can change the world by doing this. And that's very cliche. Probably wouldn't recommend that exact phrase, but so along the lines of that, how is doing this course, or why are you the right person for this course, or what are you going to do with this course? I think it's a good way to finish off. Now, here are some extra tips on how you can really make your personal statement stand out. Make it flow. It's a narrative. Make it like a story, Take people from the start to the beginning, I think, or kind of through a story, through a chain of events. You really want to make it flow. Don't make it like just random little statements and blocks like, oh, an introduction, then I did this, then I did this. Instead, if you can, I think the best way to go about it is to show a process, How have you come from one place to the other? And I think that's what I did well in my personal statement. I talked about how I begun being a bit dubious or a bit skeptical, and then a certain chain of events inspired me, and then how I furthered my understanding of a career in medicine, and little things like that. And you really want to build up to how you've come where you are today, which is someone who's applying for medicine. So make it flow, Make it like a story. It's more fun to read that way as well. You can like hook the reader into it. Next, use examples for inspiration and not imitation. What do I mean by that? You can look at examples and look at what have they done well, what have they not done so well, and you want to try and learn from that. So, I really liked how they did this. Perhaps I'm going to try do something similar. Or I really didn't like how they did this, and I'm probably going to try avoid that. However, what you don't want to do is copy someone's exact structure or copy someone's exact use of words, or copy someone's personal statement, usually because A, that's not really personal, and B, I don't think it helps, to be honest. I think being true to yourself and your story is a lot more helpful. And I think it's quite an important part of the process. Finally, proofreading. This is very important. I think just getting anyone you can to read it, people like teachers, parents or guardians, family members, anyone in the field, even your friends are really useful. Now, I know a lot of people like to go to things like private companies. So I know there are plenty of companies that offer like proofing and stuff. I wouldn't recommend it personally. I don't think it's worth it. I think if you can get in contact with all the people I listed before and have a couple of them read it for you, you're usually pretty good. For example, for mine, I had my biology teacher go through it. She's also a doctor, so that really helped, and she kind of knows what they're looking for. I had my English teacher go through it. That was really useful. I mostly asked that he looked through like the grammar and the punctuation of it, which was really useful. And then, friends or other people applying, perhaps you can also draw from there, so you can ask to read their personal statements and kind of, learn from one another. Now, it helped that none of my friends were doing medicine, so it didn't really become competitive, and I could just learn from them. They could learn from me, but I think friends are also people who'll be honest with you and give you like pretty open advice. And then parents or guardians, obviously, they want to help you. They're always going to, try to give you their best. It's important to make sure you don't really over-depend on these people, I think, over-rely, and try to still keep your own voice. I think a lot of what happens is you get advice from so many different places, you try and incorporate it all, and by the end of it, you've kind of lost your own voice in the process, which I think is something that's really important you don't do. But yeah, overall, that's my basic advice for this. And if you have any questions or if you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments and I'll try my best to answer all your questions. But thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Please do leave a like or subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.